everybody. My name is Lisa Brearley, and this is my husband, Scott Brearley, and we're excited this episode 9 to have Janice Mulligan all the way from the US. Welcome, Janice.
Hi, thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to get started now. You have quite the big intro, and we'll get in more deeper into some really important areas that I think a lot of people will connect with during this episode. But you are a retired U.S. Marine veteran,
Yeah.
and you are also a best-selling author of two books, which I'm excited to chat about, and a mom of five. Like we have a lot to talk about here. And I believe you call yourself a sober, let me get it right, sober surgery coach,
Yes.
correct? And so that in itself, people are going to be wondering, what is this all about? And so, Janice, maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself, wherever you want to start, and we'll just kind of go from there.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, and I'm super excited to be here. So I'm 54 years old. I have been in recovery for over 18 years now, and yeah, I do have five kids. It's almost as if every 5 years I would forget what it was like, what happened, and what causes this. So it's pretty unique. My kids are all 5 years apart, except for the youngest is 3. So right now, at 54 years of age, my kids are 33, 28, 23, 18, and 15. So, I mean,
Wonderful.
I still have a 15-year-old at home. I'm like, what was I thinking? It's definitely a different experience being 54 to a 15-year-old than it is, Um, so so yeah, they keep me busy, and it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome that I get to be their mom.
Amazing. And you get to also lead the life you're leading. I know you do speaking across the states. You've been sober for 18-ish years now. And so
Yes.
leading by example, modeling, are your kids one of the sort of fuels for you?
Well, they are today. They weren't when I got here. When I stepped into recovery, I was dying. I was dying from booze and everything that came along with that. Genetically, I feel like I was born, alcoholic and with an addiction and like an insatiable desire to like have more, and there is no filter. And I would chase getting loaded and chase that. It would make every decision in my life. I grew up in a home where alcohol was you know, freely given. My dad was an alcoholic, and so my dad's dad was an alcoholic. So genetically, coming into this world, like I feel like I was born with this ism, and so bringing it back to the question of my kids, like I get to break a chain. I get to break the chain that I was born into, and perhaps my dad was born into, and where there's a different pathway, and I didn't know that when I was a kid growing up. I just thought that the life I was living was normal, and the longer I'm sober, the more unnormal my life growing up is, and so today, I stay sober for my kids. Today, I chase a spiritual center, spiritual awakening, a spiritual seeking, because I want to be a good example. I want to be the best human that my higher power wants me to be. And it's a gift, and I don't want to ever forget where I was at. um, I was not a good mom for a long time. um, I had I was a drunk, loaded, child abusing, a monster. And today I don't have to live like that, and that's because of the 12 steps. And So yeah, it's doing stuff like this or speaking or writing or sharing from the heart, letting other people know that there's hope.
Yeah, and that's what one thing I know I've discovered, just like you just said, being able to share your story, being able to be vulnerable and show other people that, we're human, right? We have these things happen. However, we can make shifts. And just before we came on here, you were talking about your amazing space that you're in. I mean, that goes to show you how important it is to look within and to, get in touch with that spiritual side. So your kids are get to witness that.
Yes.
Mm,
Yes, they do. And I get there's tools that I've been able to hand over to them over the last 18 years, things I just never knew, you know. Growing up in a home where the tools were a little bit different, like someone would slide you a beer, it's like, or F them, like it was like whatever, they just don't like you because you're too pretty, or some, like things like that that just seem crazy, and and when my kids are going through a hard time, I've been able to give them a God box. Like, what's a God box? It's like we have these tools, like, here's a journal, let's write about it. How do you write? And share things with them where we can unlock a different avenue or a different way to find some relief,
yeah, it
and
sounds
for
like
me, that is so
communicating.
important.
It's
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
Communication,
Yeah,
definitely.
communicating more, yeah.
you bringing that stuff up brings up a lot of memories, and I'm one of those people from the 12-step programs that I won't say it didn't work because it got me away from the addiction part. However, I needed to go for major trauma therapy and major therapy to get to a point where I got some of the benefits, or let me rephrase this, more of the benefits that I see that some people get by just doing the steps
Mm.
and
Sure.
that sort of stuff. Like for me, it was a long road. Like I went to my first meeting at 15, and I'm 58, and I'm just over 20 years. So that gives you an idea what in between looked like.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of outside help. I've sought outside help. There are things from my past that the 12 steps, although, help us to stay away from the drink, there was some trauma. And so I've sought other avenues. I've done EMDR therapy. I've sought breath work, sound meditation. I mean, I'm a seeker. I've had people come pray over me, and, just anything to where I can, shift. Like all we need is just one little tweak, right?
Yeah.
But it's been a huge, um, it's just like one day at a time we get to unpack. And so there is, a lot of healing that needs to take place. I'm still healing
Yeah.
uh that little girl. I'm still healing, you know, the things that happened. And, every time I get to do something like this, it helps even in its own way. It's pretty special. But yes, I definitely think that the 12 steps are amazing and like everybody should do it, but there's also um some things that we need extra help. I'm in therapy right now, I'm in grief therapy because I don't think I was given the tools on how to grieve properly. When I was 16, my 15-year-old brother took his life, and and there was no arena of like, well, let's process this. Let's talk about our emotions. It's okay to be sad. It was like, buck up, suck it up. Here's a bottle of vodka, here's a carton of cigarettes. It's your fault. You didn't tell just all of that chaos. And I've done a lot of work around it. But fast forward, a couple years ago, I was placed in a position to be the guardian and conservator for my mom, who I had a not a very great relationship with, but and losing her, and then losing an animal, and then losing a sponsor, and just not knowing how to process.
Mm.
So, and I'm right now we're it's really crazy because I was listening to your first podcast, and my husband was diagnosed in October um, with an incurable illness, similar to what you had talked about, Scott, except for it's metastasized, and so I have 5 kids, and like how can you show up for them, and we're hopeful, but we're in that zone of I don't know what's going to happen.
Mm. And that's where you realize, or you have an understanding that there is a big space that we can look at to help us feel more grounded, right? Like
Sure.
like you said, Janice, the evolving over time and every day seeing something new, and and really not knowing which way things will go. And our hearts with you, because yeah, having yourself and 5 kids, and we hope the best for your husband as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know for me, it was one of the hardest times of my life. It was shortly after a divorce. I was so angry that I had pushed everybody I knew out of my life, so I was alone. And in fact, it was my ex-wife that took me to the hospital the day for the surgery. Like she never
Yeah.
left my side, even though we were split up.
Right.
And it's funny how you talk about you're a sober
Surgery
surgery
coach.
coach.
Yes.
I had prostate cancer surgery, my prostate removed with the local.
Yes.
And it's the guy across the bed from me. He had the same surgery done and he was whining for morphine and I was just wanting him to shut up so I could go to sleep.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm an opiate addict, and so never was there enough. And I don't ever want to unleash that gorilla. I'm also a disabled veteran. I have, chronic pain, and I don't get to medicinally treat it, with narcotics because I'll die.
I
And
get it.
so in recovery, for myself, silver surgeries is just something that I, felt called to do because when I was 2.5 years sober, I was facing a surgery. I was pregnant with Thomas, and I needed to have a C-section. And I remember sitting across from our doctor, and he said, "Well, you're going to have to take some Vicodin for the post-operative, And I said, "No, you don't. No, I'm not. You need to figure something out." And I said, "If you give me Vicodin, like, I'm not here. Like, I'm going to Mexico. Like, you don't understand, And it was a divine conversation because when I came back, he had done some extra searching into it, my doctor had, and so we came up with a different plan, like things that they don't traditionally do with C-sections, but like they that are available. And for me, God just blessed me with this surgery. So I was able to walk through the surgery without the narcotics, and they did I had a spinal, so that was the only narcotic that went in, right? And but other than that, they stitched in this Occupain ball in my incision, and I came home with like this ball in a fanny pack, in my incision that kept it numb for 72 hours post-op. And there's non-narcotic pain medication, Toradol, it's like a ibuprofen on steroids. And so, having that out there, was a lifesaver for me. Fast forward in the last 18 years, I've had 9 surgeries. And for me, I don't get to check out. And so propofol was the medication that they've used for all those surgeries, and it didn't unleash this thing, this ism inside of me. And I can't ever use them. And it's not for everybody, right, Scott? Like it's not for everybody,
I
hey man. if
The
you can
last
do it, great.
Yeah.
the last surgery I had, I actually did some pain medication, and it was like, however, I had to get out of the hospital the same day as the surgery. My nephew had passed away, so I had to be with my niece. And I mean, I was literally at the service. I was like,
Yeah,
and it's like, what did I like? I don't even. My niece
yeah,
is all my niece and all her friends. She's 43, but none of them have ever seen me use. And they were sitting around the campfire after the service, and I just happened to walk around the corner, and they were all laughing their asses off. Did you see Uncle Scott today? He's giving a shit, all giving his
yeah,
heck all our life for being that way, and he's doing the nodding. And it's like thank God it didn't trigger me, or like it's just to get through the pain. And over the years I've become less of a martyr because my neck is so debilitating sometimes that I can hardly get up.
yeah,
So I've had to learn how to adapt and
sure.
be gentle on myself about it as well.
Definitely. And that's what, this is like everyone has their own journey and I don't get to tell anyone specifically like this is the way it is. What I've learned is I just, I have compassion and I understand and I also, have compassion and understand for myself. And then, with God, for me so far, this is the path that I get to walk. And it's yeah, it's amazing. And some days are hard and that's okay
Yeah.
I think that the debilitating days, as difficult as they are and as hard as it is to be in pain, have brought me the closest to God. Those are the moments where He's just right with me in it.
That was a question I wanted to ask you. How, like during the surgeries or in your daily life, how do you deal with pain?
Well, I mean, I really believe attitude is everything. Okay. So, if I focus on the pain and I focus on the problem, it's like the pain, the pain, the pain. Oh my, it will hijack my life.
Mhm.
I've been there. I've gone down the rabbit hole. I've decorated, I've hung pictures, and it takes a lot to get out. Um, so it's just a daily practice, a daily reprieve. Motion is lotion for me. I try to get out and I exercise every day, and it just moves, the things in my body and it helps. And it doesn't mean that I'm pain free,
Mhm.
but I mean, I just there's not anything I can specifically do about it today except for accept it and learn to live with it and maybe not, hyperextend it. I have to be smart. I have to be careful on the things that I do go do, the yeses that I do have, the clothes that I wear, the shoes that I put on, the purse that I carry, like all of that affects my back. Right. And so for me, one day at a time, I don't know. I mean, there's times when I can fall into the fear category. I can easily fall into this place of like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna be a grandma this summer. I've got two of my kids are pregnant, and I think I'm never gonna be able to like chase after grandkids or, like what, but that's not happening right now. I don't know what 10 years is gonna look like,
Yeah.
you know, but I just have to trust God.
Yeah. And it sounds like you are very conscious and very aware of what you're doing in your daily life and finding, I guess, that gratitude of what are the good things when those grandkids come, right? Because there'll be so
Yes.
many smiles and good things.
I like how you brought up changing stuff because it's like I'm an avid motorcycle rider, and like I will never be able to give it up till I can't do it and like really can't do it anymore. However, I realized this year, and I realized because Lisa was on the back and I was hurting her a little bit when I cracked on it really hard. And it's like, is that why my neck hurts all the time? And so I slowed it down. It's not completely why my neck hurts, but I have a pinched nerve in my neck and it's in the top
Yes.
vertebrae. So they don't really want, they won't do anything with it. And the chiropractor helps. And it gets to the point, once a month where I need to take something because I'm ready to rip somebody's head off. And I know you know what that's like if you have chronic pain. And so now I just stay at home and medicate myself for the afternoon or whatever. And then I wake up the next day and I don't know what happens. I don't know if it's just the inflammation goes down enough or what, but then it's good again for another. And people go, well, you ride a bike. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't bother me when I'm on the bike. It's when I get off the bike.
I think we're born of the same cloth. I mean,
Yeah.
I found running in sobriety, I mean, I had a walker when I got sober, I had a walker. I couldn't get up and down my stairs. I mean, alcohol in all its forms was eating me from the inside out. And it was like I was 36 years old. I couldn't hold my 6-month-old baby and walk up the stairs. And then to see what my higher power had planned and after I had my fifth kid, I put him in a stroller and we started walking to the meeting down the street, Sobriety Rocks. I had started a morning meeting, and so we would walk to the meeting. And then one day, like I jogged, right? And I was also a smoker my whole life. So aside from boot camp in the Marine Corps, it was like I smoked. And so I had quit smoking when I was 20 months sober. And so like I jogged, and then I jogged the whole way. So of course I jogged like a mile and a half, and I called my friend and I said, dude, I just ran a mile and a half. And I go, let's run a half a marathon, And it was like instant. And I found running, and it's insane to say, but like I've probably run 15 half marathons, and
Oh.
I've ran 4 marathons. And that is something that like I never ever thought I would do. So my back to the what I was trying to say is like I love running. And I've had periods where I thought it was over. Like I was no longer, I had a hip replacement in 2020, where it was like, this is it. But I understand, like, I love running. I love getting out there. I'm not super fast, but it just changes me. And so that is still, I'm back at it. Last year, after walking through a really difficult time and not really exercising a lot for a year and just falling into that depression, I was like, I need something. And so I signed up for the Marine Corps Marathon, and a sponsee of mine, a friend, she ended up doing it with me. And so we went to Washington, D.C. in October, and we didn't break any records. We just finished it in the time that you were supposed to, but so we did the Marine Corps Marathon, and so I can't go run like I used to. I used to start my morning, run 8 miles, no problem, but I can go, and for the most part, a couple times a week, I can go run 4 miles. And the whole time I'm out there, I'm like, thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you, God. It's just like, because I'm getting to do what I just know makes me feel so good. I love it. And someday I'm probably not going to be able to do it, but that's not today.
I
Exactly.
actually, this year when we came to Wahan, we have a gym like in our backyard.
Pretty
Like
much.
it's pretty, it's just like I can walk there in half a minute. And I said when I was coming back, I was getting on the treadmill and I was doing really good at the treadmill. Then I got sick and I've had this chest thing going for 2 months now. And then the other morning I got up and it was about a month ago actually. And I had this dizzy spell where I just went woof and it hasn't quite went away yet. And it's like, okay, I'm not supposed to jog. I'm good with it. I got hit by a car when I was a kid. So I was always prevented from doing athletic sports and told I couldn't run and told I couldn't. And at least this is where I'm thinking it's coming from. So for years, my head said I couldn't run. Oh, I can't run. And it felt great getting on the treadmill. Like the one day I did 7K in an hour.
Yeah.
And for me, that's huge,
Yep. Had to record
which
that
is
one.
only about 3.5 miles, but
Yeah. Hey, it's, and it's, there's just, I don't know, I've found for myself that it helps me. I'm probably a little extra hyper. My thoughts go all over the place, like squirrels are everywhere, and so when I'm running, it's my meditation. It's the meditation that I found um since getting sober, where everything just seems to like come where I can focus,
Mhm.
you know, and I'm sure that if the day comes, when the day comes, and I can't do that, then my higher power is going to put me somewhere else or doing some other activity, But every day I just try to stay grateful for it, like you said, getting on the bike. It's part of me, and I need it, and I think my higher power knows that.
Yeah. It's interesting when you went like this to describe where your brain is or where your thoughts are when you're running. I heard that the other day that when we can have that moment, it's peaceful. There's a sense of peace, right?
Yeah.
It's like the only thing that exists. It's like if, you're just taking your time to breathe. The only thing you're thinking
Yeah.
about is breathing, or the only thing you're thinking about is running.
Just a brief pause in the show. If you'd like to dive deeper into our work, our books are available on Amazon. You can also get instant electronic copies at payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley Authors. Now, back to the show.
And it's this place of peace, because often, and I know, Scott, you share quite often that when he walks into many of the this 12-step sort of programs, that there's many people there with many thoughts going crazy, and many of us have that. And
Yeah.
to be able to come to that place of peace with the one thought, it's to me it's almost a journey that everyone needs to feel at some point, because it's very calming.
We
Yes.
we went to this. She's known as a miracle healer. She's a massage therapist here
In Thailand, yeah.
in Thailand, and we're sitting there talking to her one day, and she goes like, "I have to be. My energy has to be top." She didn't use these words, but top shelf for my clients. So I can't be in a bad mood or anything. So if I'm feeling off, I'll sit there and I'll kind of meditate, and I'll pretend I'm at my computer and go delete, delete, delete,
If
delete,
there's,
delete.
yeah.
And that's what I use all the time now when I get going, when my brain, those ants get going. And they even get going on the bike. Like sometimes I was just thinking of a ride I did the other day. I just had another falling out with my brother, and I think it'll probably be the last falling out we have. And so I'm going through all those emotions and feelings, and it triggers a whole whack of stuff. And I'm in my head and I'm blaming, then I'm like taking the blame, blaming, then taking the blame, blaming, then taking the blame. And I know it's all got to do with me. My behavior is my behavior, his is his. And and it's kind of neat knowing that, even though my head wants to like give it that out, but the truth is, I got to take ownership in my behavior.
Sure.
So
Yeah, it's and that is what Taylor Swift has a song. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. It's like, I understand. And so it's an outlet. I mean, for sure. Um, it's not always quiet. And so it's the process, right? Through getting to where I'm willing to look at what is it that I'm angry at, what's going on here, right? And what's my part? And then I can transform, right? I can let my higher power transform me so that I can get away from that. I've spent many times, many days, many running, many all that, right? Because this thing, my head is out to kill me still. It's never like completely shut off. But I have those conversations all the time. I'm going to say this, and they're going to say that. And then I'm going to say this, and they're going to say that. And then they're going to do this, and I'm going to do this, And it's like, who are we having a conversation with? Like, not everybody thinks like that.
A lot of
I
people
actually,
do, though.
it brings back a lot of memories. I got diagnosed with ADHD a couple of years ago. And I went to Dr. Amen in the States, and does a brain spec, like a spec of your brain, and prescribes you from there. And it's like, my brain doesn't do that to me anymore.
Oh, wow.
I don't have the arguments I mean, I do a little bit. I won't say it's gone, but it's not like it used to be. It's like I had the fight before I even opened my mouth to talk to a person.
Yeah.
And I don't do that today because it's like, I don't know. I don't know what happened to it. Thanks for the memory.
Yeah. It's a freedom, right?
Yeah,
It is freedom, isn't it?
it is.
You can have that. To be able to kind of step back and look at yourself, that awareness of that, it's incredible, right? And to be able to, like you just said, kind of go through that self-questioning as to where is this coming from? And is this a pattern that happens that's been happening all my life? And how can I shift it? Or what different do I want to do? So,
This weekend, no, 2 weekends ago, I was up in Chiang Mai at a convention, and it was the meal time, and they set everything up kind of wrong. And it was so chaotic. People are butting, and some people are just barging in, and it's like every fiber in my body, when stuff like that goes on and I'm getting bumped and bumped, I want to backhand. I want to react. And even in my brain, I'm like, no, no, it's okay. And it's funny how we need to talk ourselves through situations. And I kind of look back at it, and I really almost should have just left and then came back after the chaos stopped. Found a better solution than even just talking in your head.
Right. Well, you get to be an observer. So
Yeah.
you're observing what's going on and observing the thoughts and observing, I mean, it's this practice that we get to what's going on here,
Yeah.
and my feathers get ruffled all the time. I mean, I was ruffled yesterday just because my 15-year-old, he's late for school and he didn't take food and he's got this going on and he has to be at the sportsmanship at 1:30 and school gets out and he didn't take his lacrosse bag. And, I live 4 houses down from the high school, right? I do not drive to the high school because it is crazy. If you get in your car and you drive that way, forget it, man. And he forgot his bag. So I'm up there, but I'm just like the fourth time of passing where he's supposed to be, like all of a sudden my serenity has gone somewhere and I am like livid,
yeah.
And the thing is when we're like that, people sense that, so like I drop off his lacrosse bag and give him a breakfast sandwich and it's like and I huff my way drive away and then he's sending me a message like I'm so sorry mom, thank you, so like you know wow, okay, people see it
Mhm.
and I get to recognize my intolerance and my impatience and my unaccepting and I get to recognize what it is that popped up inside of me and then ask my higher power to remove it. I don't want to do that today. I don't want to be that person. It used to fuel me. I mean, I used to a good like frustration or anger or self-righteousness, like, man, I was gonna ram it home like it was my way. And that fueled my ism a huge and the longer that I'm sober, it like makes me scared. I don't want that feeling.
Mm.
I can relate. I was probably 14 or 15 years sober after the prostate cancer when the shift kind of started happening. And I went to this 3-day self-development class, and I'm angry. I want to go home and put a gun on my mouth. And by Sunday, they were upselling me to try to go to the next course so bad. I'm livid and ready to punch people. And I go out to my Harley Davidson that in Canada, they were really expensive. And I go to put my leg over the bike and something slapped me. or the light bulb went on, and it's like, if my bike mechanic told me I had to put 5 grand into this bike, my credit card would be out just poof, in a heartbeat. But they're trying to sell me on a life or something that might help me, and I want to go home and kill myself, and I'm mad at them.
Right.
So I had to go back and I was begrudgingly, I won't say I went in, I mean, it was willingly, but begrudgingly, and paid for the course. And am I ever glad I did? Because guess who I met there?
I think, you know what, you brought up a good point because I was just talking with one of the gals I'm working with, and we were talking about, the outside help. And, for myself, like I'm willing to do anything for peace of mind and like growth and awareness, like um to get help, right? And so I have, like we talked about, like I've sought outside help. I've paid out of pocket,
Mhm.
like and enhanced and like um there is no price tag that you can put on my life.
No.
And it's like, so, and that has carried forward into my children, of I've taken my kids to therapy. And is it covered through insurance? No, I mean, I'm VA, like I don't have health insurance that covers that, but does it cost $150 or whatever? Yes. But is it worth it? Of course. I mean, we're like, we're trying, and so for me, for my mindset, I will do anything to um to stay grounded and to grow and today, because I would have paid anything, any amount of money to go get loaded.
Yeah.
I took the
Yeah.
all-inclusive trips. I did everything. Like I went to any lengths to get what I needed in that life that I was living. And so it's like for me in recovery, you know, I'm just willing. I don't have to skimp. Like I don't want to skimp on my life here, you know. And like
Well,
you said with the Harley,
yeah,
it's, and look at what happened. Like,
I know.
are
Yeah.
you
Yeah, the choices, the things that
And
happen in life.
the surgery that I had was like catastrophic. And I was like, I will never have another woman in my life.
Mhm.
And I found one of the most gentle, caring women, actually the most gentle, caring lady that I've ever met in my life.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah. The stories we tell each other.
Speaking of that, have you ever heard of the book from Michael Singer? It's the stories, no,
No.
Untethered Soul.
Yes.
Uh,
I've I've listened to it. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Yeah, some really good lessons
that
to
was
learn
one of
from
the
that.
first audiobooks I listened to, and I listened to it twice in the same week.
It's really great. I've had a few books in recovery that I've listened to that have changed,
Mm.
that just bring the principles in. A Return to Love, when I was 5 years sober, I read, and the principles in that book just, I'm reading The Power of Two-Way Prayer right now by Father Bill W. and practicing, and it's changing my recovery today. It's pretty amazing.
Now we can talk about some other books, but you are also an author.
Do you have
Yeah.
any that you can show us?
Yeah, do you have any copies right there?
So Power in the Pause was my first daily reflections book that I published in 2020, and then Upon Awakening. So both of these, um,
I think I've
yeah,
seen The Power of the Pause with somebody.
Power in the
Okay, in
Pause.
the pause.
Power in the Pause, maybe with Tracy,
Possibly, because he was just here a week ago or 2 weeks,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, maybe he showed us the book.
probably. I think maybe because we have a mutual friend.
Yes,
Yeah, you know
yes.
what's even crazier? So I was with them in Chiang Mai, But previous to them even being here, we had made another couple of friends. They had went to Vietnam, the friends we met before. Well, Tracy and Connie just went to Vietnam. They
And
sent us a picture the other day. They're all in the video or picture. It's
they
crazy.
met up.
They
Kind
met
of
up. They don't
weird.
even know each other. Now they do, but
Kind of weird.
That's
Could have
Yeah.
awesome.
had
That's great.
some interesting connections. So if I know your books are for sale on Amazon, so if people pick up your books, what who who would you love to see your books and what are they going to read about and be inspired about or
Well, so first of all, if somebody wants to personally uh get books from me where I can personalize them, then they would go to my website, right? And I have I've given away thousands of books. So, that's what I get to do. Like I'm in service to these. So if they went to www.sobrietyrocks365.com, then you're going to get it. It's way less expensive, and if you can't, afford it, then you're going to get it anyways. Because Amazon, they print, right? And my so that being said, but who is going to read this? So Power in the Pause, I'll just share it. So when I sobered up, I got the gift of no sleep. I was in my house detoxing, and I went 9 nights and 9 days without sleeping. And I had 4 kids in the house, and this fiance. We weren't even married yet, and I was terrified. I didn't know if I was gonna make it, and so I would reach out to people, that I was meeting in 12-step meetings, and I would write, some stuff as far as the literature that I was given to read, how it pertained to my life. And so I started this daily reflections, this text thread, which, started with a few people. And over the years, like every morning, I would uh, write daily reflections and I would send it out. And uh, there was like over 1,000 people every morning that I would connect with. I mean, I met people all over, and so that's how this started. And in 2018, I had this thought, and I thought, I had never compiled them, and I was 11 years sober, and I thought maybe I'll just save a whole year's and go to Kinko's and print off, like a little pamphlet, and I'd have this. And of course, like my ideas are so much smaller than God's ideas. And so, so I saved a whole year. And then a friend of mine, was talking to her about wanting to, write a book. And she said, "Oh, I know this woman." And so she connected me with a gal who helped me compile it. And now my first book, Power in the Pause, uses verbiage from an anonymous 12-step program. And so I thought, like, I was thinking, I need to change the words, right? Because it's plagiarism, And so I'm with a friend of mine, and just like, I'm really baffled. Like, I don't know what to do because there's all my words, but there's like a line from their book. And so my friend, she said, I'm like, I don't know what to do. She goes, "Have you ever thought about asking for permission?" I'm like, well, of course they're going to say no, but I did. I reached out to this organization in New York, and submitted my manuscript and asked for permission to print Power in the Pause. And I got an email back, and I was given permission. Although they didn't read the whole thing. It's not like they're endorsing it, but I had permission to print it. And so that email is actually in the back of my book.
cool.
So so Power in the Pause, it will be 6 years. It turns 6 on March 19th. I actually launched the book on March 19th, was the anniversary of my brother dying. And I just kind of wanted to take a really tragic day and turn it into a really special moment. And so that was released 6 years ago. And so I'm still writing, I'm still sending my text, and then what happened with Upon Awakening was maybe people just need a spiritual wake up. I mean, there's drug addicts, and there's alcoholics, and there's sex addicts, and there's food addicts, and there's gambling addicts, and there's people addicts. I mean, there's like everything, right? And so Upon Awakening was done in a different sense. It was hoping to reach anyone that's looking for a spiritual wake up, just life, or how we can look at things, or and so that's what that book came out as. And so Power in the Pause is a spiritual wake up, but really geared towards a 12-step following. And I don't know, like, I have yet, and this is not ego driven at all. My head tells me that, like, not like, no one's gonna like it, and you're not that good, and like, it's the dumbest thing ever. But I have yet to have someone come and say, this is the dumbest book I've ever read, but my head will tell me that that's always in and it's, so it's helping others, it's special. And I get to be in service to it. And I get to go speak on panels, do H&I at hospitals and institutions, and I roll up with a case of books, and it's like, anyone that wants it, take it. Like, this may or may not be helpful, but who knows? We just don't know who we get to touch, right?
So true. What is there someone or some sort of moment that you recall where you had some feedback from someone about your book or books?
I've had lots of feedback. I mean, it's almost overwhelmingly humble, like this feeling of, like, people say, and it just has increased over the years, where people go, man, your writing this morning was just really awesome. And it's like, for me, like, I read them every day. And for me, like, I sit here and I think, wow, this is really good, or wow, this hits home. And it's like, it's almost like, you know, from my higher power through me to others. Like, that's the only way to express it. And it's like that God picked me, really, and I just have to, like, I know that He picked me to be me, to share a message. And, I just hope that I never, ever forget.
I don't think you will, because it sounds like it's very important to you.
Yeah.
I know I've started my second book a couple times and kind of backtracked and all over the map, and I'm supposed to have it done by September.
October.
October?
We might end up co-writing it.
Yeah, co-writing
We'll
it.
Yeah, you both have a couple books, right? Don't
I
you,
have
Lisa?
one. Lisa's got three.
Well, I'm on my fifth, but my third adults book. And just like you were saying about asking for approval, my second kids book is about this student I had in kindergarten. That's what the main character is in the book. And I wanted to include part of the writing of that book in my third adult book. So I said, "Can I include your picture, please, in my book?" And of course they said yes. And I was like, "Oh, that's so good. You have to ask for what you want, right?"
Right. And our fear is that we're going to get, rejected, right?
Yeah.
Um, I have an amazing gal, Alex Blake. She's in Australia, and she helped me put together Upon Awakening, and she's a publisher, and so she's helped me along the way so that I can self-publish, and she's connected me with some, like, people overseas where I've been able to print my books so then I can give them away. It's not like it's $25 for Power in the Pause, and so it just has all worked out, and it's just carrying the message, like, and the people that we get to meet along the way, it's unbelievable, you
Mm.
know. Yeah, you guys as friends. I'm
I
like,
know
what?
that's
And
that's what. Oh.
ironically enough, like my 18-year-old, she just got accepted to semester at sea. So she's coming to Thailand in December.
Oh.
Like that's where they get on the boat is in Thailand. I'm
Wow.
like, and
That's
here
so
I am talking to you.
that's so funny.
That is funny.
So I may be bringing her to Thailand.
Give us a jingle.
Yeah, right.
That's so cool. Now, you also have done many speaking occasions on and have at an international women's event as well. Can you tell us a little bit
Yeah.
more about
So I think that we just I love sharing what God's done in my life. I love connecting with people. I'm a soul gatherer, a soul connector. I'm a personality, and for right now, like my higher power is just he's plugged me in, and so I've been able to I was asked to be the opening speaker for the International Women's Conference last year, and ignorance is bliss, I tell you, because like I had no idea that like I mean I was part of putting this thing together and part of being of service, and like I'm a worker, and I had no idea that there would be as many women, or I didn't know what it was like to speak in front of thousands of women. And but it was magical. It was like life-changing. And it was just like there's just no there's like no description like when you can like when a heart touches a heart,
that?
and so wherever my higher power wants me, he sends me, and I got to speak on Sunday night, and it was like a hybrid meeting, and my story touched another woman's heart. She was on the video, and then she reached out to me, like that night, and then I get to connect with her yesterday, and she's really going through a hard time, and I can't fix her, like we can't fix her problem, like, you know, but what we can do is we can identify and connect, and like most of the time, a lot of the people identify with the insanity of drinking and using and stealing the safety of our children, right? And robbing them of their voices. And to be able to be a sober mom today, and to share with them that there's hope, and it doesn't always look perfectly. I wouldn't say all 5 of my relationships are the way I think it should be, with my kids, but it's exactly the way God has it right now,
Yeah.
right?
And they shift over time. Everybody comes to a different space and different realizations and awarenesses and
Right.
I think if we continue to work on ourselves, as I like to say, then things tend to come to this place of this is the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And like you said, the being of service and being able to speak and share, um, you know, I didn't realize how much I needed that,
Mm,
considering I guess I would say, so after I've been of service locally and here and there, and then being able to do that, and then being asked to come to a conference or this conference, and like, okay, like, I mean, in 2027, booking things out, and I had no idea. And what happened is um coming into what happened this last year, and the news, and walking through this thing with my husband, right, has been horrible, but also changes you, right? And so with that, it's almost like my higher power knew that I needed these opportunities to take a break, to go fill up my tank, to go be of service, right? So that I could come home and, and then I can do what's in front of me here. And, I get to get on an airplane Friday and I get to fly to Oregon and go speak at a 50th anniversary meeting, and then I'm gonna, it's like, so what that's doing is it's filling up my spiritual tank. I get to do what I love. I get to help others. And then I get to come home and I get to be of service here and I get to be a beacon of light and not, buried in my bed with the covers over my head because I can't imagine what my life 2 years from now is going to look like. Right? I just have to, like, God's in my calendar. That's what I just keep saying to people. Hey, God's in my calendar. Here we are, right? Who would have guessed? And I'm not in charge.
And I think I keep looking at your beautiful background, and I think that word above on your right side, blessed, and on your left side, thankful, is very much, I think, the place you're in, and in regards to your sobriety and where you are spiritually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's no other option, right? I mean, I've been angry and I have tools. I get, it's like I can write an inventory, I just wrote an inventory. And I get to go over it and I get to recognize where my wrongs are. And then I get to ask my higher power to remove them. And I get to try to, grow into being a little bit more accepting, a little bit more loving, a little bit more tolerant, My husband's coming home. He's been in Florida for the past few days. He's coming home and he is tired. He's been chaperoning a high school broadcasting thing. I mean, this man, he's been there for 5 nights. I know he is going to come in hot tonight when I pick him up from the airport, right? I have zero expectation that he's going to be like, oh, I really missed you and I love you. He's going to come in and he is just exhausted and probably is going to be grumpy. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that we know each other after 25 years well enough to know that I just got to zip it. So my chore today is to do whatever I can to put that spiritual bubble around me. So it's like, I am rubber, you are glue, like it can just bing, and not let it, some days we're just like that.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful. I have a wife that if I'm having one of those days, I can go, babe, not today. Just let me be me. And
Those days.
having one of those, you know what? No offense, no nothing. It's like,
No, we're
even I
loving.
remember the one day, it's actually quite ironic. It was the day before our 3rd anniversary. And I looked at her and I said, I'm at odds with you today, and I don't know what to say to you. That was our whole fight. Like that. Not that that's a fight, but because my head, like it would, and it's like
Right.
we don't do that today.
And that is such hashtag goals for
Yeah.
anyone listening to this,
Yeah.
because it's okay. And I'm still learning. My husband's 11 years older than me, and I'm still learning how to say, I'm having a really hard day and this is what I need. Like, I wasn't equipped for that stuff.
Yeah.
I did not come into this relationship equipped. The household I grew up in, communication was not, it was a lot of FUs flying through the room, and I don't want to live like that. I don't have to live like that.
Yeah.
So it's awesome that we can communicate differently, and I mean, what a blessing.
100%. It sounds like we kind of grew up in the same household.
I've listened to some of your stuff and I 100% believe we did, and it's like, what a miracle for us to be here. And that's the thing is, like, I mean, I don't know about you. Like, I still have thoughts, especially lately. I'm like, I can't believe I'm sober. I cannot believe I'm not drinking today. Like it was my everything.
Yeah. Well, my life was a little different because it's like by the time I was 21, I had a year and a half in the program. And then got into this quick little relationship and it went south and I got loaded for a day. 2.5 years sober. Same scenario, but except this time when I went out, it was like, I'm gonna stay out. And I stayed out. I lasted 4 months because I'm chaos rate, like it's insanity. And then I made 6.5. So it's like I got 3 or 4 1 year cakes under my belt. Like it's insanity, the life that I've led. Now I'm at 23. And so that stuff doesn't really play a key in my head anymore. And it's like people go, if you don't remember your last drunk, you didn't have it. And it's like, where does it say that in our literature? Because
Right.
I don't remember my last drunk. I remember my
Well,
last Coke, but not my last
yeah,
drunk. Because that was the last time I used was I smoked like a bowl of hash.
yeah.
And then
And I
went to a
think
meeting.
yeah, well, and that's the superpower. So, and I talk a lot about our superpower. So your superpower is in and out, or taking time and time and time. I don't have that superpower, I mean, my superpower is, coming into a 12-step program out of treatment loaded. So we paid $24,000 and put me in treatment, and I got loaded every day pretending to be sober. And I came out of that treatment center in 2006, and I had this pretend sobriety date of 6606. And I did all this stuff except for the don't drink part, and so I'm not a unicorn. Like there are people who have done the same thing, but for a year and a half, I came to 12-step meetings. I I tried to work the 12 steps. I had commitments. I did all the stuff and I was lying. And I took, dirty lengths of sobriety and, I did it all for a year and a half. And then the perfect storm, and I think I've heard you talk about that, Scott, is the
That's my
perfect
book.
storm.
That's what my book's
Yeah.
called.
Yes. And so the perfect storm and all the clouds parted and the stars lined up. And on December 14th, 2007, God said, she's ready. And I surrendered. I don't think that storm could ever be created any different. And so for me today, like I do whatever I can to stay, 18 years, couple months in, it's like, but that is my superpower. Just like maybe somebody that comes in and they're the 30-day wonder, 30-day wonder, 30-day wonder, it's like that's their superpower. Like they know they can connect with the person who's going to come in and who's going to do, you know what I mean? And it's like,
100%.
so all of us have this experience. And it's like if I know somebody that, since they're, in their teens and struggling and gets this amount of time and then drinks for one day and then this amount of time, like I hear what you're saying, and then it's like, oh, I have this friend. Maybe you can talk with him, you know? Um,
And it wasn't till I did trauma therapy
yeah.
that I really got over it. I shouldn't say that. My wife that I had, my previous wife, when we divorced it, I was 11 years sober and I was angry.
There's
And,
something about that 11-year time that is like
and then I go to
horrible.
a meeting and there's somebody else splitting up at 11 years too. And it's like from about 11 to probably 16 or 17, I was an animal, and it wasn't until I started changing again. And now I won't say I'm grateful to be a member, but I have a really hard time being there today
Yeah.
because I've been screwed over by so many people. And then I come to Thailand and the same thing happens. And I know it's me putting me there. That's the cool part, is I'm not like this blaming them. I sign up for it somehow.
So they're still learning, and,
And
I
so
think
it's
that
huge learning.
I
And
think that's the thing we need to remember, right? I just saw someone share this story the other day about, we see things online and people look perfect, like they're at this level of perfection, and we don't see that everyone is on a journey of evolving and seeking themselves and finding the self-love and the self-worth, and it's too bad that we get inundated with this level of, wow, you're better or perfect or you've reached some level. And we all go through our ups and downs every day. And yeah, that's one thing I think we're happy and that we can have episodes like this, podcasts like this, and be able to share more of the real stories of people and how they're using those tools and strategies to have more a day where they feel more at peace and they have that feeling that can continue on for the rest of their life at least, and to give them the confidence and self-worth to do that.
Right. Well, and I think that it's like you said, the social media, it's hard, it's like every morning, every morning I'll put Upon Awakening out on my social media, and usually I go for a walk and I'll take a picture and I say, thank you, God. It doesn't mean that like maybe I'm not having a heavy heart. It doesn't mean that like I didn't want to go for that walk today, but being able to be in the environment that I'm in is I get to share that with other people. Some days the best thing that we do is just not drink and get loaded, and it's like I may blurt out and be grumpy or agitated and unaccepting and angry and yell at my kid, but thankfully we have a design for living where it's like, oh my gosh, okay, I can clean this mess up, and so it's just this perpetual thing of taking, these steps. And I feel like one of the luckiest people in the world. And I have a face, it's, now if we would have done this last week, I don't know that my energy, like I was in the shitter, I mean, just to say, I was just like, I was in it, and it was like, you know, today like it's shifted, so everything changes, like, and that's the thing is like I don't drink and I seek, and eventually something's going to change, and that's probably why I'm more like people are more attracted to me because I can, you see it on my face, man. You see it, like I will just tell it to you, and it's like some days are hard, and that's okay. It's like I don't have to drink. And if somebody's listening to this and they're like, yeah, but like I'm unique, like we're not unique. Like some days someone else is having just a harder day. The gal that called me yesterday, she's 18 days sober. She killed somebody 18 days ago,
Mm.
right? Drinking and driving, and killed somebody. And because she has a broken leg and a shattered ankle, she's not in jail today, right? So she's awaiting God knows what. She's 30 years old, mother of two kids, right? And here's the deal. I don't know. Like, I just get to carry a message. Like, is it odd or is it God that I have another gal who's in jail? I've been emailing, who's a friend of mine, who had a DUI accident, and there was a death, and she's been in jail since July. And it's like, and I get to communicate with her every day. I get to send her hope, right? And know that I don't know that this gal chose it, but this is going to be her superpower. And wherever she doesn't have to drink, and she can carry a message. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, ironically enough, when you're having that conversation, I mean, before October, I don't know. I think I would be talking to her and not know what to say, but it's like, yeah, I'm living in the unknown. We're faced with a metastatic stage 4 diagnosis. I don't know what's going to happen 6 months from now. I don't know what's going to happen, but I get to be here right now. Like we get to be here right now. And I don't know. It's just, I don't know what God's doing. I just, but I know he's doing something.
Mm.
And I'm grateful to be awake for it, because man, I was not awake. I was dead on the inside.
Yeah.
I can relate.
Yeah. And we're very grateful that you joined us in this conversation and shared your story. And at this point in the show, we like to be able to share everything about you in regards to how people can get a hold of you.
Final pause. If you've got a message on your heart and want to be our guest, don't be shy. We'd love to hear from you. Visit forwardwalkingchoices.com, scroll to the Soulmates and Suitcases podcast section, and click Apply Here. Now back to the show.
Where they can buy your book. So please tell us a little bit more about where everybody can find everything and get a hold of you.
So if anyone wants to get a hold of me, they can order my books on my website, is www.sobrietyrocks365.com. That is my website. I also am on Instagram at sobrietyrocks365.com. That's my writing Instagram. I also have an Instagram for sober surgeries at sober surgeries. My phone number is 760-583-8208. I'm in the United States. I'm on the Pacific West Coast time. I'm open to talking to anybody or being of service in any way that my higher power wants me to be of service. I think that for the most part, somebody can text me or reach out on my website, and we'll see what God's got planned. I mean, really, that's me. And I have my sobriety_rocks is my Instagram, just me, and I'm pretty open. Janice B. Mulligan is on Facebook, and I'm pretty open. I get to share this journey with others. I really don't think that it's something I need to keep isolated, and that's about it,
Well, thank you, Janice. And
This has been fabulous.
your life has been in service to others in very many, many ways. So thank you very much for sharing yourself and your story, and all the best to you and your husband and 5 kids.
Want to get our books fast and at the best price? Get your electronic copy at https://payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley authors. Again, that's https://payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley authors.